sunnavadi paschata deshata Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Adaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Adaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Prabhus and mothers.
Hare Krishna, Danod Pranam Prabhu.
Bhagat Pranam. Welcome to our final 2 session. Today we are going to have a special session that each of you, how much you are taking with you in your heart, you're going to express in front of all of us. And we'll take it fully, or maybe we'll add or subtract. It depends how well prepared each of you have done in your own homework. So we'll begin with that. Puspanjali to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. So please join together. Om Ajnanati Mirandhasa Gyenanjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Shabada Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatari Pancha Kalpataruvescha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebho Vaishnavebho Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Satta Devata Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Are you ready? Prepared?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Whatever little. Yeah.
I can see the audience. They are going to put 2 ears and the eyes to your word.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. You please begin.
Yeah. So this is chapter 1, Glories of the Holy Name. Namah Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Suddho Nitya Mukto Bhinnatvam Nama Namino. The holy name of the Lord is transcendentally blissful. It bestows all spiritual benedictions. Krishna name is complete and it's not material in any condition. Name is no less powerful than Krishna himself. Name is not involved with Maya. Name is always liberated and spiritual. And name is never subject to the laws of material nature. It's all because name is non-different from Sri Krishna himself. So Mahaprabhu asked Haridas Thakur how jivas can be delivered how jivas can be delivered from the material existence. Haridas Thakur said, Mahaprabhu, by your mercy, you have displayed all your pastimes so that your devotees can relish them. You are the Lord, I am your servant. The nectar of your lotus feet is my wealth of happiness, and my hope rests only in your holy name. I will obey your order, Prabhu. I will speak what comes through my mouth. So Krishna is supremely independent, and all his energies are also intimately related with him. Krishna is considered as a Vibhu, and his energies are Vaibhava. Through his energies only, we are able to perceive the Lord Krishna. There are 3 types of Vaibhava: Chit Vaibhava, Achit Vaibhava, Jiva Vaibhava. Chit Vaibhava is the spiritual manifestations coming from the Krishna spiritual potency. Achit Vaibhava is the material world, and Jiva is the smallest innumerable, infinitesimal particle of the spirit. So what does Chit Vaibhava include? Chit Vaibhava is all about Lord's abodes, spiritual realm, unlimited names, forms, pastimes, qualities, everything. And they are all beyond the material realm. And Chit Vaibhava is inseparable from the Lord. So it's also mentioned as Vishnu Pada, which means it is equal to God and it is transcendental to material changes. Achit Vaibhava is all happening outside the spiritual realm, which is about the material realm or the Devi Dama, which composes of a lot of universes with 14 planetary systems. And this is the abode of Maya and operates always under the instruction of the Supreme Lord. And this Achit Vaibhava, the material world, is all made of 5 material elements: mind, intelligence, false ego, and they all form the gross and subtle bodies of the living entities. Now, Jiva Vaibhava, Jivas are the atomic particles of the spiritual element. So Jiva is also spiritual in nature. So they have some degree of independence and unlimited bliss. So the jivas who are resorting to the Krishna are liberated and attain bliss. But if any jiva would like to enjoy without Krishna, they have to take birth in the material world and have to go through the cycle of repeated birth and death through the papa and punya continuously for all that what he does. But Krishna, being most merciful for the welfare of all the jivas, while giving them what they want, at the same time, he tries to put them in the path of the bhakti. So thinking for the mercy of the jivas in Kali Yuga, Lord has come with his name. He understood that in different yugas, there are different kind of ways of purification. But Kali Yuga, he understood about the people, their mentality. He felt that the easiest path for them is to descend like through his name. And he preached the process of Nama Sankirtana. So simply by chanting and Nama Sankirtana, one can attain Krishna Prema, which is the highest benefit of mankind. This is the mercy of Mahaprabhu, mercy of Krishna coming through to make our life easy and give us a simple process and a sublime process. Other important aspects which I noted, the whole process of the sadhana is for us to purify our subtle body. Purification means we are trying to follow what is explained in the Shastras. So anyone who chants Krishna, anyone who accepts Krishna's supremacy can chant and become a lover of the God. So the only qualification for any jiva is, please, once if we start accepting the Krishna is supreme and surrender to him, we can start the chanting process and we can achieve the highest goal, which is the love of Godhead. Our progress in this path is primarily dependent upon our attitude. And spiritual growth is not automatic. Many of us have this false understanding that it naturally automatically happens. But we have to understand that it is a very, very intentional, conscious process day in, day out for us to be able to reach towards the Lord. Forgetfulness of our relationship with Krishna is the real cause of the suffering. And also we are suffering because we have forgot our connection and relationship with the Krishna. This chanting process of the Mahamantra helps us to revive our relationship with Krishna and removes us from the suffering and puts us at the lotus feet of the Lord. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Wow. You did it very precise and on time. Well, even less than time. Anyone has any question on the Satyadevatas Prabhu's brief, precise, effective words? I'm very glad that you added something, that attitude. It is not a automatic, it is actually intentional. Those are very nice. It's not there in that book, but I'm glad you picked up those. Those are very important because that's where we see that all the acharyas emphasizing. So thank you. I appreciate that you picked up and added to the, it's like a little icing on the cake. Very good. All right, who is the next two? Don't have the list here.
I hope this is in line with what you are expecting for us to recap the summary.
It is very good, but only question is, I'm a little bit different than, of course, we all are individual. I like some categorized things for me to remember.
Okay.
If I don't put in a category, I cannot, like, it becomes like all over and I don't know whether I'm precisely following.
Understand.
When we chant this glory, this conception that you just explained about the Bhagavan with his potency, and then you talked about three potencies, the Jiva potency, Achit and Chit. And then you gave a brief description for Chit potency, Achit potency, and then Jiva potency. This is what I would request you. I mean, you did it perfect. You don't need to do anything, but try to edit your own essay that you have spoken. Editing means, try to remember this. It's not a backup by Shastra, but
no, please.
It's backup by my spiritual mentor. Jayadatta Maharaj said, this is perfect. When you edit your own realization, you are editing your consciousness. He said, this is very good. So I said, thank you, Maharaj. So I felt good, and I also wanted to share that. So what do you do on the jiva? You make a very constructive points that we are eternal servant of Krishna, one. We are coming from the marginal status where we have a
choice.
We are prone, you can say, to go either side.
Yeah.
And those who are not aware, that means they may not reach the other side. It is because it is a conscious choice. So we choose. Choosing means misuse of free will. So we misuse of free will. As a result, we came here, and then you'll find in Bhagavatam, these are repeated by Prabhupada. In Jara Bharat case, he was compassionate to a deer. Well, compassion is a natural thing. Everybody should be compassionate. But Prabhupada says, before you become compassionate to someone, first become compassionate to yourself. So Jara Bharat was very compassionate to a deer. Was there anything wrong? No, but he was not compassionate to himself. He was degrading himself from his emotional attachment to Krishna, became a deer. As a result, he took 2 more births. Would you like to take 2 more births in the material world? Unless you are in love with Hyderabad or wherever you are. Because we are not focusing on the spiritual world, we may still have some attachment to this world. But actually, more we focus on the spiritual world, it's like a billionaire's child standing in a corner street for a bread. We are homeless. We should really think that this is a deplorable situation. Why we are here? We should be like literally cry every day. Why did I do this? So this is very important. Prabhupada writes that every preacher, every devotee should remember that little mistake of Jara Bharat, that he was not merciful to himself. He was merciful to deer, and it caused him 2 more births. So we are advancing doesn't mean we don't have a chance to come back. Yes, we have a chance to come back if we are not careful. So intention has to be there. Like this little bit you can add every day or every often day and focus when you are chanting. This is the focus point. Remembering Krishna began with intention. Please remember that. Because some people think in the office when I remember Krishna means, oh, beautiful bluish boy with the flute. That's not what it begins with. It begins with intention. I want to meditate on Krishna. It pleases Krishna. Krishna says, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakta. Intention is beginning of memory or remembrance of Krishna. So you did a wonderful. Thank you, Satyadevata Prabhu. Who is next? Let me see. Anyone knows?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. This is Nilamri Radha Dasi.
Oh, Nilambodi mother. Yes, you are the next second. Go ahead, please.
Yes. So, Hare Krishna Prabhujis and Matajis, please accept my humble obeisances. And I'll try to speak essence of chapter 2 entitled as Accepting the Holy Name. Accepting the holy name is the basis of Krishna consciousness, right? And all other discussions which we have been doing or which we'll be doing depend on this particular aspect, whether we have accepted holy name in our life or not. So here we'll talk about some points like how holy name is different than any other process mentioned in scriptures. So few points in that regard. First, first of all, holy name is not only the means, but holy name is also the end. We must remember that it means it's not a process which we can ignore after attaining perfection. Generally, when we follow some process and after attaining perfection, the practitioner reduces practice and finally they get rid of their very burdensome process like severe austerity. Nobody wants to do it eternally, right? But here, in case of holy name, the process itself becomes more joyful and ultimate aim after attaining perfection. So Harinam is treasure of Goloka Vrindavan Dham also. And in this way, here sadhana and sadhya are not different. So we should always remember this point that this is not only a part of practice and we will get rid of that after attaining some perfection, but this is eternal process. Doesn't matter whether we are here, there, or in Goloka Vrindavan Dham. This process we always have to follow, and this is the most blissful process. So that is the first point. The second one is that some wonderful points regarding Harinam, that Harinam is Chintamani, which fulfills all kinds of desires. So it's mentioned that materialistic, if they chant, they also get their desires fulfilled, like dharma, artha, kama, moksha, whatever they desire. And Nishkam devotees, they get pure, unalloyed love of Krishna. So that is our goal actually, uh, that we want to attain that Krishna Prema. So devotees are chanting mainly or only for that reason. Next one is that, so yeah, that point, whenever we are chanting, we should remember that our ultimate aim is to attain Krishna Prema. Now, next one is that holy name is free from any material contamination due to time, place, cleanliness, paraphernalia, or any other consideration, because holy name is beyond any material consideration. Holy name is Krishna himself. Just like Krishna is beyond material consideration, so the holy name. So and this holy name descends in this material world but remains untouched by matter. Just like Krishna also descends in this material world, but he's not touched by three modes of material nature. He's untouched by all material contamination. Similarly, holy name has descended in this world, and holy name is also untouched by all contamination. So we should never compare this holy name with any other process. This holy name is beyond any consideration, any material consideration like time, place, cleanliness. And that's the reason we sing every day that Namna Kari Bahuda. That there is no rules and regulation in this regard. It's free from any rules and regulation. Anybody at any place at any time can chant and make life successful. Next one is, who has right to take holy names? So Harinam chanting is beyond caste, creed, nationality, skill, talent, or any other qualification. The only required qualification is faith. So one who has unalloyed faith in devotion unto Krishna is even higher than demigods. So anybody can chant, and not only that, everybody must chant Harinam. So this is the most wonderful process. And the next one is that holy name gives best realization. So how? Supreme Personality Godhead is known by four characteristics: name, form, qualities, and activities. Now, holy name is so powerful that just by chanting, one gets realization of Lord's other three characteristics also, that is, qualities, pastimes, and form. Not only that, one also gets entry into Lord's abode. So holy name reveals all characteristics of Krishna. Otherwise, they are very rare, because Krishna or anything, his names, his pastime, cannot be perceived through our material senses, but through holy name, we can perceive all these things. And next one is that this holy name is conscious, full of all qualities of Krishna. Krishna has 64 remarkable qualities in fullness which are present in his avatars and Guna avatars also. So Lord Narayan has 60 qualities, Lord Shiva has 55 qualities, and Brahma has 50 qualities. But Harinam has all 64 qualities in fullness. So this is most amazing thing. And whatever is there in Krishna is there in holy name. So we must remember that. And next point is how to define Vaishnavas. So it's mentioned that one who chants holy name even once is Vaishnava, but there are different gradations based on intensity and frequency of chanting. So those who are chanting continuously holy names, they are greater Vaishnavas, and one whose presence makes others to chant the holy name is highest Vaishnava. So we should understand we don't have to stuck at first level that only chanting once in a day, but at least come to the second level that okay, chanting continuously. So in that way we have to advance and become better Vaishnavas. So we should understand that that person is called Vaishnava who takes a holy name in faith and pure intention. And it's also mentioned in this chapter that that person is called semi Vaishnava who takes names but with impurity. Though that person is also benefited and gradually advanced. So sometimes while chanting, we feel that our chanting is not pure or I'm lacking somewhere. So then also it's okay. We have to continue with chanting because it will give us purity. It will give us improvement also. So one must take holy name somehow, and there is nothing comparable to this in this world. Uh, Another point is that everything in this world other than Jiva and holy name are without substance. So, living entities have fallen down to this world, and holy name uh, has descended to this world to deliver those fallen souls. So, if we remember that only these two things are substance in this world, we should not run after any other thing, but we should run after only the other substance, that is holy name. And the next point is that chanting of primary name gives maximum benefit. We should remember that because sometimes people get confused and why to chant only Hare Krishna, or there are many other mantras also. So we should be aware that names related to material functionality are secondary names like Paramatma, Antaryami, and so on. And primary names are related to his transcendental pastimes like Radha Vallav, Nandanandan, Yashodanandan, or Ram and Krishna. Chanting of primary names give entry in abode of the Lord, while secondary names can give liberation or material elevation. So devotees must stick to chanting of primary names and they should not get attracted to secondary names. And another point is that if we faithfully chant primary names of Krishna by avoiding offenses and doubts and vyavadhas, then it will give very quick realization. So these points have been explained in next chapter. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Haridas Thakur. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you, Mother Nilambari Radha Devi Dasi. Anyone has you can always ask something clarification if you have some kind of confusion what she said or anyone says. Because this is just a small personal group. We are trying to help each other to grow. Anyone? I like the beginning ones. Beginning she mentioned about Harinam is means an end. And if you are aware, Karmis does the pious activities. They spend a lot of money, hard-earned money to do jagna and others. Then the result is not keep on doing more jagna. The result is they go to heaven and enjoy. No more jagna there. And the Jnani, they punish themselves with the severe austerity to merge. And once they merge, they become inertia, no activity, they retire. So she made it very clear. I like that it is joyful while we are practicing. So you can also examine your heart. If you are not happy, I think I mentioned once that taste is the test that you are progressing. So this is very nicely she explained, and a very nice point she made, that Harinam is always existing on pure goodness. And she explained about that. Who has a right to chant? Anyone who has a faith is qualified or qualification. And then she also mentioned that through holy name, all the rupa, guna, lila, the form, the pastimes, everything will manifest. We don't need to artificially meditate something without holy name. Holy name will naturally produce or give us access to those. Also, she mentioned about that holy name as endowed with 64 qualities like Krishna, and she gave an explanation, brief explanation on that. Then also she mentioned that anyone chanting Hare Krishna is Vaishnava. It's very nice, isn't it? Simple. Who is Hare Krishna or who is Vaishnava? Or anybody chant Hare Krishna. If you don't chant Hare Krishna, you are not a Vaishnava. Wow. That's actually, I'll add something here. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says, actually Prabhupada also says, any guru do not emphasize the glory of holy name. He is not a first-class guru. If you read Bhagavatam, almost every chapter, almost every text end with some glory of holy name. That's Prabhupada's extra mercy. I'm not trying to be partial, but I noticed that Prabhupada glorified more holy name than any other Acharya I ever saw through Bhagavatam. It's very wonderful. And she also mentioned about there's a true aspect of holy name. Now, when I remember the sloka, it says, Mukha nam tavo tumate abhinna jariya vastu nam vastu hoite bhinna. The sloka that Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that only the Mukha nam, the primary name, is in non-difference with Krishna's Sarup, origin Krishna. The secondary name is not exactly like Krishna. So there's a little bit distinction he makes. And then he says that the material name and the difference with spiritual name and material name, the material name is endowed with complete substance, like Krishna, the primary name. But the material name and the soul's identity and the body's identity and the name, they're all different. So we should always meditate on it. Then when we chant, we will have actually awakened love within us. That's very nice. Next is Mother Anastasia. Are you ready? Good. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother Nilambari Radha.
Yeah, firstly, I wanted to thank you for all over this year since we known you. You've been always encouraging us on this path and always give us so much strength, especially in this course, to believe in Krishna and achieve our goal as well. So I'm so thankful for you for that. May I share screen, please, as well? I prepared a small presentation.
Yes, you can. I just don't know how it operates. I'm a little bit. What do I do?
It says here,
Make
host
her host,
disable
Prabhu.
participant screen share.
Screen share.
Like,
The green button where you are seeing the share screen, there if you click, you can say, you'll have like make host, make share, not host.
share.
No, this is Pran. Govinda is sharing his screen, but
I
Maybe
don't
you
have
can
anything
just
in
make
my.
her- Maybe you can just make her co-host, then she will do by herself. Maybe just make her co-host.
Hold on. How do you do this?
Yeah, Prabhu, you are sharing your screen actually. You need to maybe close that screen and
Oh my Lord. Hold on. Hold on. Make allowed, make host, make co-host. D1 make. Mhm, mhm. Hmm. Okay, so I'm back here. Share screen and share computer sound, optimize screening.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Radhinanandas.
I do not see anything to make you co-host.
Prabhu, I have texted you something on the chat.
Prabhuji, see in the chat, Prabhu.
Okay. Let me close this. Okay, clip participant in the meeting control. Okay. At the oh, I see on the participant. Okay.
You have to select the participant, Prabhu, then you will be able to see to make as co-host if you right click there after the participant.
This one is going to be the co-host and choose Krishna, Krishna. Hold on.
Were you able to see the participants, Prabhu? The participants are there, no? List
Yes,
of
I
participants.
clicked on it.
Yeah, once
Oh,
you go
wait.
to Anastasia Mataji and then there, if you click, right click, you can
Oh,
say,
I see, I see. I
then
have
you
to
will
go
see
to
make her co-host option.
Krishna. I got it. Okay. I got my
Yeah, now
PhD
she's
on it.
co-host.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Something I learned today, first time. Can you believe this? I'm doing this Zoom so much, I never even did this. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'm going to try to talk about Namabhas. So Namabhas is a shadow or reflection of the holy name. And we can compare holy name as a very bright sun, and sometimes it is covered by ignorance and anarthas, which could be compared as clouds. And in order for us to achieve the full strength of the holy name, we need to get rid of these anarthas and ignorance. So there are three types of ignorance. The first one is when we don't know the true spiritual nature of the name. When we forget that name and Krishna are not different. Then there is another type of ignorance when we forget that Krishna is the only Supreme Lord. And sometimes we tend to begin worship different demigods in order to achieve different material results. And also we sometimes forget our fundamental position as a servant of Krishna, as eternal servant of the Lord. And knowledge is when we know that Krishna, spirit, soul, and material nature, who all of us are, and relationship between us. And there is also, I guess many of us know about this Sambandha triangle, when we know the relationship between us and God, and that actually only prema bonds us together. Also, there are different types of anarthas that are blocking us from the pure name. And there are three types of anarthas. The first one is called asatrishna, which means thirst for material objects, desire for enjoyment with matter. The second one is hridaya daurbalya, weakness of the heart, or desire to lord over matter. And the third one is aparada, or offense. Now I'll explain each one of them more in detail. So the thirst for material objects consists of craving for material objects in this world, craving for heavenly sense pleasure in the next life, desire for mystic yoga powers, and desire for liberation in Brahman. Weakness of the heart is when we're attached to different things which are not related to Krishna. Deceit, envy for someone else's progress, and also longing for higher position or fame. Offenses are the following. Offenses could be to the holy name, offenses to Krishna himself, offenses to Krishna's devotees, and offenses to other living entities. So when we chanting Namabhas, we can receive all pleasures, all material pleasures in this world, and we can receive different goals. However, we can go only up to the borders of Vaikuntha. We cannot achieve the highest goal, prema, or love for Krishna. So in order for us to do that, we, actually I wanted to mention also that there are 4 types of namavas. And the first one is called Sanketa, which is unintentional or accidental chanting. And as an example, we've read in Harinama Chintamani was Ajamila, or when he called his son Narayana at the time of his death, he didn't really mean the name of God, but he was thinking of his son, but still, by Krishna's mercy, he managed to go to higher planets. So even when a person is chanting in this type of namabhas, like Sanketa, Parihasa, when he chants in joking mood, or in Stopha, saying the name of the Lord ironically, or like Hela, in disregard and without attention, a person can still achieve many good results, but still it is not the highest way, or not the best way of chanting the holy names of Krishna. So it is actually situated on a lower border of namabhas. So in order for us to go through all of these anarthas and get rid of these things which are blocking us from actually feeling the full potential of the holy name, we need to cultivate in us something that is called Shraddha. And Shraddha, which means respect, which means real knowledge or real faith, can come only through the knowledge that we can get from the pure devotees or from our guru. And by having this type of knowledge, when it becomes really strong in our heart, we can feel this faith. And if we continue chanting with this very strong faith, with this sincerity, even though we might still have anarthas in our heart, Krishna will see, Krishna will feel our strong will of making him happy, instead of willing something for ourselves, instead of just wishing to receive some happiness. in this material world, instead of just, as always, forgetting our fundamental position as his servant, will continue chanting in this Namabas, wanting something for us. It will not help us to get the real goal of life. But we continue chanting with strong faith. If we continue chanting with Shraddha, Krishna himself will come and he will purify our heart, and then we can chant in, we can say, Shraddha Nama, or pure name of Krishna, which will lead us to the goal of life of Krishna Prema. And here we can again see the sun, and at the time when eventually by strong cultivation with strong strict practice, and when we have this real consciousness, the proper consciousness in our heart with which we pronouncing each name of Krishna, all the clouds of ignorance and anarthas will dissipate from our heart, and then we can really feel and understand the real treasure that is hidden in the holy names of Krishna.
You're done? Very nice. Only just one little point. It's not maybe in the book. The Namavas are two types first focus. It's always better. This way you'll be very clear. That's how I see it. One is called Chaya Namavas, one is called Pratibimba Namavas. Chaya Namavas are these four types. Everybody understanding what I'm trying to say? Chayaman Namavas means like if you follow a shadow of a tree, just a simple example I'm giving you. If you follow a shadow of a tree, will you arrive at the tree ultimately? Yes or no?
Yes.
Very good. If you follow a mirror, and if you finally break the mirror, will you see the person by breaking the mirror?
No.
No. That is called Pratibimba Namavas. Pratibimba Namavas means so long we have a desire to be separately existing. I just want happiness. I just want to be aloof from the material suffering. You're looking for your own. The Pratibimba Namavas is tainted. Chaya Namavas means you have a guru who understands fully about the glory of holy name, and under his guidance you are doing the bhajan, and your goal is to serve Krishna. There's a big distinct. At the end, what do you want? You want to please the Lord by serving in spiritual world. And the Pratibimba Namavas means at the end you want just Haribol, just rest. I don't want anything else. I just want to be happy in one place. So the goals is big difference. So just remember that. That was nice, very nice presentation. Thank you, Mother Anastasia. Next is Aditya Narayan Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I have one question related to this only. Generally we hear like there are 3 stages of chanting, like Nama Prad, Nama Bhas, and then Shuddha Nam. But we also read from this chapter is like Aparadh, offense, is also one category of the Nama Bhas. So is it like Nama Prad is one subcategory of Nama Prad, or is it like how they are like are they 3 stages, or is it like there are ultimately 2 categories only? I mean,
It's only one stage, is a full moon, holy name. But the person where he or she is, according to their location to the full or moon planet, there is a gradation made it. So that idea should be clear. So yes, there is a Nama Parad And when you are fully aware of the namaparad and you're trying to protect yourself, not commit, then you are in the namava stage. But that namava stage has a many gradation. An ultimate goal to get out of the namavas to reach. So in that sense, yes, there is a gradation.
Okay, Uji. Thank you.
Okay. Prabhu, you are leading now.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So first of all, I would like to offer my obeisances to you, Prabhu. You have so wonderfully presented the entire Harinam Chintamani Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhe Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. So I would like to offer my obeisances to all the Vaishnavas here, to Guru, and also to Haridas Thakur. And we had mentioned once, so just I'm going to give that shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Prabhu mentioned. And it goes this way. It is Antya 1199. Jai 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 Haridas, Namera Mahima Jena Karila Prakash. So,
Very good.
thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
You're frozen.
Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, Prabhu. So, chapter 4. So, this chapter actually starts off describing the 10 kinds of offenses. But before he actually goes into a description of the offenses, he actually gives two starting points. And Prabhuji like stressed on these points. So, I would like to mention that. The first point he actually makes is to enter the spiritual world. We should know how to act right now in this present material body. It is not that, okay, after we die, then we'll know how to, act in the spiritual world. So right now we need to know in this material body how to act. And basically that's where the principle of aparad comes. Aparad means that which displeases Krishna. So right now in our spiritual life, we need to know what displeases Krishna and start working on those items. And those are basically the aparad. So that's the first point. And the second point he actually mentions before going into the first offense is that Haridas Thakur himself makes a point that I am very fearful of the offense. So I was thinking, like, if he himself is saying that I am fearful, that he's showing by example how we should cultivate the mood. So we should also cultivate the mood of being fearful of committing these offenses. And the second point he mentions is one should actually pray to their lordships for strength to avoid these offenses. So these 2 points, that we cultivate the fear, like Prabhupada also made the point that, he mentioned that we are not fearful enough of Maya, right? So cultivating the fear of committing the offenses. And the second point is to pray for strength to avoid these offenses. Okay. Then he lists the 10, in this chapter, the 10 offenses are listed. And particularly in this chapter, he focuses on Vaishnava Aparad, right? And then he starts off by saying that how this kind of aparad is the most most destructive of all offenses, because it completely disrupts one's spiritual life. And the example is compared to that of a mad elephant offense. Basically, when a mad elephant enters a garden, he destroys everything. So similarly, committing this Vaishnava aparad is like completely disrupting our spiritual life. Then in Vaishnava Aparad, he talks of 2 points, 2 main principles. The first principle he talks about is about understanding Vaishnava etiquette. And under that, he actually explains that first of all, we need to understand who is a Vaishnava, what are the different levels of the Vaishnava, Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttam, and then how, based on the level of advancement of a Vaishnava, we offer them respect to that extent. So that is the first principle, Vaishnava etiquette. And the second one is to directly criticize a Vaishnava. Actually, before this session, I didn't know that the first item of observing Vaishnava etiquette comes under this entire principle of avoiding this Vaishnava aparad. The second one is actually to criticize Vaishnavas, and he actually makes 4 points that if we criticize a Vaishnava because of his jati, his caste, Then second, if we criticize a Vaishnava because of some unpremeditated accidental fall down, which is accident fall down. And third is to criticize a Vaishnava because of some traces of previous sin. Like he makes a point that once we chant the holy name, then all the sins are actually washed away. But there may be some vestigial sins, reactions that may be there in a particular Vaishnava. But if one criticizes a person based on those little remaining sinful acts, then that is a Vaishnava. And the fourth point he mentions is sinful activities that a devotee committed before surrendering to a Vaishnava. So before taking shelter of a Vaishnava, if someone goes back to his previous life and criticizes him for that, then that is. So these four he actually lists under criticism of Vaishnava. So again, 2 points. One is Vaishnava etiquette, and he gives an example of the dealings between Sanatan Goswami and Jagadananda Pandit. And basically that he shows, we don't have time to discuss, and we discussed this earlier, that he shows that how, based on the position of the Vaishnavas, we actually deal with the Vaishnava in a particular way. And the second example for Vaishnava criticism, he gives the example of Amogha and Ramchandra Khan, and basically says that both of these, because they directly criticizes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the devotees of the Lord, they were completely bereft of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay? So that is the main point in Vaishnava Prad, observing Vaishnava etiquette and not criticizing Vaishnava for these 4 points. Then the next point in the chapter he goes is, okay, when we talk of Vaishnava, first of all, we need to understand who is a Vaishnava. So Prabhu just mentioned a few minutes back, the broad definition of a Vaishnava is one who actually chants the holy name with faith, and he has some kind of serving mood, like in a favorable mood of service, right? So that is broad definition. But in this, he actually goes into a deeper definition of a Vaishnava. And to know who is a Vaishnava, first of all, he refers to the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, where Lord Krishna himself tells Uddhav that these are the qualities of a Vaishnava. So in the Swarup quality, he actually says that that is a quality where it says Krishnaika Sharanam. So the main characteristic of a Vaishnava is his surrender to Krishna. And there are other tatasha qualities, secondary qualities. And he makes a point that these secondary qualities may not be directly visible in a Vaishnava, but still, one should not criticize a Vaishnava since a particular Tatastha quality is not visible, but one should see the Vaishnava based on his surrender to Krishna, right? So, and then further he elaborates on this and he says, like, Vaishnava is not dependent on a Varna or Ashrama, and he gives the example of Raghunath Das Goswami, how he was born in Kayastha family and how he was a Grihastha, and he talks about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction to Grihastha, to Raghunath Das firm attachment to
Okay,
is it okay
fine.
now?
Yes.
Okay, Prabhu. Yeah. So right. And because unless we know the importance of a Vaishnava, then we will take association of Vaishnava very lightly. So he basically says a real Vaishnava is one who
Prabhu's voice is breaking.
Aditya Narayan Prabhu, are you okay?
Hare Krishna.
Maybe you can keep the video closed, then the maybe sound will be clear more.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Prabhu. Sorry for disturbing. So basically, the next part, he basically explains the glories of a real Vaishnava, and particularly he's mentioning that because once we understand the glory of a Vaishnava, then we can really know how we should actually respect the Vaishnava. And he basically says that without that, the only way we can get bhakti is through a Vaishnava, because a Vaishnava actually has bhakti in his heart, and by when we are faithful, he actually gives that seed of bhakti, which is a combination of the Haladini and the Samved Shakti. So only through a Vaishnava can we actually get bhakti, and in that way develop that attachment to the holy name, and hence the primary quality of surrender to Krishna. So that is who is a Vaishnava. And then just to end with like 3 small points, that how does one develop the tendency of committing Vaishnava Aparadha? And he says this is due to bad association, and he lists like 2 kinds of association. One is avoiding association with women, like excessive attachment to the opposite sex, and the second is, he said, avoid association of non-devotees, and he mentions Mayavadis and pretenders and atheists. So if you avoid these bad bad association, then the influence to actually commit Vaishnava Aparadha will not be there. And then he talks about Vaishnava, that one point that Prabhu really stressed in this class, which I really remember, is that we need to analyze ourselves for our own spiritual protection, that we need to understand where we are in our spiritual life. And in this chapter, Bhakti Vinod Thakur is actually talking about Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. And he says Madhyam, they actually are qualified to chant the Shuddha Nam, whereas the Kanishta, they chant the Nama Bhas. And the Uttam, he would never commit any offenses. So by understanding where we are and also examining other Vaishnavas, we can actually progress nicely in our spiritual life. And the last point he ends with is like, okay, due to some foolishness or due to some madness we commit Vaishnava Aparadha, then we should actually fall at the feet of a Vaishnava. We should repent bitterly, weep, and beg for the Vaishnava's forgiveness. And because Vaishnavas are merciful by nature, they will forgive. But we should do that part of falling and begging at their feet. So thank you so much, Prabhu, and please forgive any offenses, and please correct me, and please forgive. Hare Krishna.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I like your beginning with the 2 main points of what pleases Krishna and what displeases Krishna. Wonderful. The whole presentation is perfect. Advaita Murti Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Are you ready? We are waiting.
Yes, Prabhuji. Could you please make me co-host so that I can share the screen?
Okay, now I learned I can do it. Let's see.
Advaita Prabhu, could you speak a bit louder?
Is it okay now?
Yes, Prabhu. Very much. Thank you.
Okay, I made you. See, I learned it very quick.
So this is a very small, simple presentation. My humble obeisances to Prabhuji and all the assembled devotees here for giving this opportunity, and for the pleasure of Shishi Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Pasarthi, Srila Prabhupada. I would like to speak few words. Om Agyantimanandasya Jnana Shlakya Chakshurumite Tasmai Shri Gurume Namah Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutle Swayam Rupakadam Tadati Padam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhakta Vinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So this 5th chapter is about the second offense, which is the title of the chapter is worshipping the demigods as independent of Krishna. So I would especially like to thank Prabhuji for all his inputs in structuring the presentation. I sent him on the very last minutes, but still Prabhuji gave the time and his inputs. So thank you very much, Prabhuji. So So what exactly is this second offense? So from the whole chapter, I have extracted like the, you can say, 5 main points. What exactly is this offense in terms of five ignorances or illusions? So the first ignorance is that Lord Vishnu is on the same level as demigod. So these are, like, you can say, 5 offensive mentalities or 5 ignorance which we need to correct. So the first is Lord Vishnu is on the same level as demigods. And then I have put the, like, the right understanding which is there in the book. So we can, so the analysis is presented there in terms of the qualities. So Jiva has 50 qualities to some degree, and demigods have 50 qualities to a higher degree. Shiva has 55 quality, then Vishnu or Narayan has 60 qualities, and Krishna has all 64 qualities. So from here we can clearly see that Vishnu or Krishna is not equal to the demigods. So, and they are the servants or the separate expansions of Vishnu, and not equal to them. So considering them at the same level is like an illusion or a great offense, that equating both of them. And the second thing in this offense is that to consider that Nirgun Brahman is the cause of Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, which generally many people think, especially in India, that all three, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh and Shiva, all are equal, and they have come from one impersonal energy or something, Sagun. So, but the right understanding is uh, that Narayan, being the supreme, is the cause of the Brahma and Shiva. Then the third ignorance is that one can worship Vishnu by worshipping demigods. It is that because it's another misconception that Vishnu is all pervading, is everywhere, or is the all pervading one energy, and is present in everyone. So even in the demigods. So if we are worshiping demigods, so in one sense we are also worshipping the Vishnu inside, the Brahman inside. But this is not the correct understanding. The right understanding is that by worshipping Vishnu, actually one worship the demigods or everyone. So there is no separate worship of demigods is required. Yata taror mula nischena tapriyanti skandabhonj upshakha. This, that by giving water to the root of the tree, all the branches and the leaves are also, they are also fulfilled. So in the same way. And the fourth thing is that to consider that Lord Vishnu and his name are different. This is also a result of Mayavad, thinking that ultimately the impersonal Brahman comes into goodness and get material form, material name, and so name and forms are different. But as we understand from the book, that Lord Vishnu is Advaya Tat. There's no two. There is one thing only, which is pure spiritual thing only. Like it's complete spiritual, thing. There's no difference between the body and the soul like that. It's complete spiritual whole. So there's no difference in the form, name, and everything is spiritual about the Lord. And the fifth offensive mentality is to criticize the demigods and the scriptures supporting demigod worship. So this is another extreme, that instead of worshiping, then if we become Vaishnavas or we understand the Lord Vishnu is supreme, but then we start criticizing the demigods and the scriptures. But that is also a offense actually, because the demigod worship is also process given by the Lord Himself, and the demigods are the servants, are the dear servants of the Lord. And in so therefore and they are in one sense Vaishnavas, so we should not criticize them. And also the scriptures which promote a particular demigods as supreme somewhere, like in Shiv Puran and other Puranas, so there also they do it with the intent of increasing the faith of those worshippers, so that they are fully devoted to that particular demigod, and they are fully devoted, and they worship them, ultimately become purified, and come to Krishna. So these are the five, you can say, the five offensive mentalities which come under this second offense. And then how we can avoid this offense? Um, of course, the first thing is to understand these five things, getting the correct understanding and not to do these things. And besides this, in the book, Shraddha Thakur also mentions, like from a little bit more practical point of view, like for the, especially for the grastas, especially in India, we see as part of different caste duties, varnashram duties, people worship many, Devi Devtas and all. So for those, also for them, how to how to avoid this second offense, or how to focus on the Krishna. It is through basically that all the duties which they do in terms of various samskaras, from garbhan to antim samskaras and shrad, and various rituals which are part of the social, customs. Even in that also, Krishna should be the center, only Krishna should be worshipped, and all others should be given the prasadam, or ultimately, and they should be recognized as the servants of the Lord. But ultimately we should worship, Vishnu or Krishna only. And we can see that many of our acharyas also have enabled us to do this, like in many of the rituals, like how to do Shrad from a Vaishnava point of view. They have given in many books like Sarkrit Deepika, where in which they have molded the all these rituals, which are generally including demigods, but they have replaced Vishnu mantras and given that worship from a Vishnu point of view. So we can always, refer to these, and in this way we'll be able to keep Krishna in the center even while performing customary duties. And these are some other points, more little bit more practical points, which I found in the last paragraph. I just, this one single paragraph, we just put them into just points here. So first is to, I'll just read them. Since it is obligatory for the household to worship the demigods according to his caste, he will worship the demigods and forefather by offering them the remnants from their Lord, Krishna. So like in the Shrad and all, so even to the demigods, we give them the prasadam, not that we, offer the food directly to them like that. So these are some practical points. Similarly, saying it is when a devotee sees the murti of the demigod, he will pay respect to the demigod, seeing them as a as Vaishnav. So this is how, if we go to some demigod temple and all, so how we should be behaving. Then he says that, however, the devotee will not accept prasad remnants of the offering that a Mayavadi has made to Vishnu, because the Mayavadi, so, so even when the prasad is offered to Vishnu, but by a Mayavadi, so even we should not accept that, even if it is offered, because they don't have devotion and it is done with a material conception. So Lord will not accept that. So it is not prasadam. And then the fourth thing is also to accept offering made directly to the demigods is an offense to Vishnu and obstruct the path to the pure devotional service. And in the last, that devotee will give demigods a Lord prasadam out of respect. So in this way, it will not be offensive. He will also please the demigods, but through Lord's prasadam. So some of the points Prabhuji input was also there, that in terms of association also, which is very important, that a pure devotee will avoid the association with those who worship demigods as supreme, and instead will worship and serve the Vaishnava who take Krishna as supreme. So after taking care of all these things and all, even still if we do this second offense, then what is the rectification? So this is what he writes in the book, that if by accident one should happen to turn from accepting Vishnu as supreme, one should be repentant and take shelter of Vishnu and be careful not to commit the offense again. So important thing is to be repentant, and be careful again and remembering all these points. So by remembering Krishna, by remembering his name and chanting his name, this offense will disappear. So this is all I could get. Thank you.
Very good. Wonderful. Thank you, Prabhu. Now, Madhavi Prabhu, are you ready? I'm sorry, I'm taking a little more time, but I want to go up till 7 so that next Wednesday we can finish the 8 more. Because Prabhu will be followed by Madhavi Prabhu. Madhavi Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, I am, Prabhu.
All right, we are hungry to hear.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu is a hard act to follow, as they say. Hare Krishna, these are my humble obeisances. Glory to Srila Prabhupada, glory to Srila Haridas Thakur. So, chapter 6 is entitled Disregarding the Guru. So, generally, when we're reciting the offenses, 10 offenses in the morning, then we say disobeying the orders of the spiritual master. So, it's slightly different, but it's also the same in many ways. Srila Haridas Thakur explains, according to your order, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will describe in detail all the offenses that occur from disobeying the Guru. So much of this chapter actually is dealing with the necessity of finding, approaching, and recognizing the character and quality of the spiritual master, the different types of gurus, when a guru should be rejected, as well as when the disciple becoming bad, the guru should reject him. So that's quite a lot of the chapter. It begins with the understanding of the preciousness of human life, that out of the 8,400,000 species of life, and we're reminded of the famous verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brahmanda Brahmite Koni Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach, that by the mercy of Krishna and the Guru, one receives the seed of devotional service. So it goes on to mention that through unintentional pious activity, the jiva obtains a human body. So if we think about that carefully, it's unintentional, somehow or other, by some pious activity, getting some prasadam or hearing the holy names or something. We generally talk about agyata sukriti as being unknowing, but here it's unintentional. Prabhu's been talking about intention and attitude, but this is unintentional pious activity. So only by good fortune is a person able to get to human form. And only in this form can the living entity perform devotional service properly. In the human form, the living entity can progress back to his constitutional position with Krishna. And the point is to not lose the opportunity to escape from the material prison. So we understand from all of Srila Prabhupada's books, practically speaking, to accept the spiritual master is essential for everyone. The spiritual master acts as the captain of the ship to guide the jiva over the ocean of the material nature. So there in the Bhagavatam, Twana Sandarshito Datra, Dushtaram Nishti Tirshatam, Kalim Sattvaharam Pumsam, Karnadara Ivarnavam, to be the captain of the ship. So only fools attempt to cross the material ocean by their own intelligence. So people are very proud, especially in this age. Everyone is proud of their understanding and their intelligence, but that is the characteristic of a foolish person. They're trying to cross the darkest region of material existence without the guide of a self-realized soul. So the next section goes into one should approach the qualified guru. What are his characteristics, his qualification? And the number one characteristic is he must be a devotee of Krishna. So I know you go onto the internet and there's so many gurus. You can be a guru for this and a guru for that, but the real guru is Krishna's devotee. And what has he done? He's conquered his senses, vacho vegam, manasakrota vegam, and one must inquire submissively from him, tadvidi pranipatina. One should take initiation from him and cross the material ocean. Having attraction for Krishna, he will give up material logic, take shelter of higher knowledge, and he will receive mantra initiation from the Guru. So it's mentioned elsewhere that the Diksha mantra, especially for us, it's the holy name. In some other understandings, there may be some other mantra added. But for us, the Diksha mantra is the holy names of Krishna. The main qualification for the Guru, we have many, many gurus, but the main qualification mentioned is how much the Guru knows about Krishna. That's very simple. How much the Guru knows about Krishna, Janma Karma Chamedivyam. And it also goes, he may be a Brahmin or a Sudra, a householder or a sannyasi, but this makes no difference in the Guru's ability to deliver the jiva. So famous quote, Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyase, Shudra Kananoi, Yea Krishna Tattva Veta, say Guru Hoy. The qualification of knowing Krishna and being a devotee of Krishna is the all-important consideration. So then it goes into the different types of personalities. It goes into the householders. It begins by saying that a householder should accept the Guru, but stay in the duties of Varnashram. So it has a very interesting understanding. And we should kind of practically appreciate that the household ashram is a transitional ashram, like the caterpillar going to the butterfly. How to become detached from material enjoyment and simultaneously attached to Krishna. So there's different recommendations given about brahmanas, and you can accept a brahmana who's a Krishna devotee, or you can get if there's no suitable brahmin, you can go to someone in a lower caste or another varna. So it's a little interesting there, but it doesn't really apply to us at this time. A householder who cannot find proper spiritual life in the Grihastha ashram should take a guru who is not a householder. A renounced householder should seek shelter of an acharya who has successfully renounced household life. Accepting guru and performing sadhana bhakti, the householder will eventually achieve bhava. At this time, his attraction for family life and sense gratification will cease. He will give up household life and enter the renounced order. Like this grace, Pran Govinda Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So the guru is two types. One who gives diksha with mantra, that's diksha guru, and one who gives spiritual instruction, that's the shiksha guru. Both are considered equally important. And this next section I found very, very significant for us in ISKCON. The founder Acharya hands down the Sambandha Gyan through the Sampradaya. The original teachings and the founder Acharya should be worshipped with all respect. One should be loyal to his teachings, not taking teachings from others. So the famous book in Prabhupada's Lilamrita is called Only He Could Lead Them. And it came up that time that Prabhupada was going back to India, he was ill, and there was a question whether he would survive or he would ever come back. So some devotees suggested, well, why don't you just send one of your godbrothers? And Prabhupada was actually offended, but he didn't take it that way. He just mentioned that if they changed any little thing, that they would become confused. So we find in many ways that there are other persons who are teaching, but they're not teaching the Siddhanta that Srila Prabhupada taught. So one should be loyal to his teachings, not taking teachings from others. It seems fairly clear to me. Thus, guru, either siksha or diksha, must be a servant of Krishna, an associate of the Lord eternally in Vrindavan, and especially empowered by Krishna. One should serve the Guru with great devotion. Again, we're not really getting into anything about offenses here. It's very limitedly discussed. One should serve the Guru with great devotion, knowing him to be directly empowered by Krishna, the dearmost servant of Krishna and one's eternal spiritual guide. Worshipping the Guru with Padya, Argya, etc., taking his permission to worship the Lord, one offers Krishna Prasad to the Guru, the Vaishnavas, demigods, and forefathers. With Guru in mind, one should worship Krishna and chant Krishna's name. So disobeying or disrespecting the Guru will block one's progress in bhakti. So this is the most significant point, practically speaking. By properly serving the Guru and chanting the holy name, one can get quick success. Having firm faith in the Guru, by the strength of the holy name, one attains prema. Then it goes into the section of describing the rejecting the Guru. On what condition? If the Guru loses his qualification through a satsanga, starting as big Guru by committing nam aparad, he loses his knowledge. By offending Vaishnavas, he loses taste for the name and comes under the spell of wealth and living. So generally we see that offending Vaishnavas, this mad elephant offense, is causing, of course, the offending the Vaishnavas is other spiritual masters as well. Unsuitable disciple, unsuitable Guru. If the disciple becomes bad, the Guru must reject him. And if the Guru becomes bad, the disciple must reject him. Otherwise, both may fall. Better one than both. So it's interesting. Disciple and Guru must test each other. The scriptures recommend that both spiritual master and the disciple place each other under strict scrutiny before mutual acceptance. If one is prudent, he can avoid the calamity of having to reject his spiritual master. Once having accepted a qualified Guru, if one disobeys his instructions, one commits a grave offense. But that even the demigods can fall down to hell. So we have the example of Indra disrespecting his Guru, Brihaspati, and causes big problems for the demigods. Respecting the Guru includes his bed, his seat, his shoes, his car, water that washes his feet, and his image should be respected. One disrespects or worships someone else as Guru in his presence, that is devious mentality, trying to minimize the bona fide Guru. So in finishing, one should regard the Guru as one's Lord and Master, obey his words and instructions, fall on the ground seeing him, loudly glorify the Guru. And I don't know if I can add one personal remembrance. When I took initiation at the opening of the Krishna Balaram Mandir, also at that time, two sannyasis took initiation. One was Tripurari Swami and the other was Gaur Govinda Maharaj. And Gaur Govinda Maharaj received his danda. He stood up and he glorified Srila Prabhupada for like 15 minutes. And Srila Prabhupada was glowing and gleaming and smiling. And he remarked, this is the way that a disciple should glorify his spiritual master. Loudly glorify the Guru. Never disobeys his order. Take his prasad remnants. Not discuss anything the Guru dislikes. Surrender oneself humbly at the Guru's feet and act so the Guru is pleased. Acting in this way and performing Krishna Nam Sankirtan, one achieves all perfections. Guru gives the proper teachings concerning the holy name, and after establishing faith in the holy name in a person's heart, formally gives him the name of Krishna or a mantra containing the name of Krishna as his sadhana. This is Diksha. If by bad association or contact with bogus literature, one happens to reject or disrespect such a bona fide Nam Diksha guru, one should immediately give up the bad association and literature and in sorrow approach the feet of one's guru. Being all merciful, the guru will reinstate him, and again by chanting sincerely, he will obtain prema. So we can think of the example, those of us who are familiar with Christianity, of the Judas Iscariot and how he denounced and renounced Jesus like that. So it's extremely foolish offense, and being all merciful, the guru will instate him, and by again chanting sincerely, he will attain prema. So the guru is very kind. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Sorry.
Wonderful. Madhavi Prabhu, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Is because Prabhu tired? Is it too late over there where you are?
It's just after 7, but I think the devotees in India are suffering a bit more because it's much later there.
Where are you, because Prabhu?
I'm in UK, Prabhu. I'm 6 o'clock.
Oh, so you are okay. Go ahead.
I'm
Oh,
okay.
sorry.
We'll finish after you will finish, and then the rest we'll do on Wednesday.
I will try to be brief, Prabhu. So,
Hare Krishna. My fault.
Hare Krishna. I pay my humble obeisances to my Guru, Shri Srila Prabhupada Ji, and all Vaishnava Acharya, Govind Prabhu, and all respected participant devotees. This is a spiritual subject, and I'm still learning, so it's very difficult. If I do any mistakes or omissions, offenses, please forgive me for that. This is chapter 7. Primarily, I'm going to speak what Haridas Prabhu said. Haridas Ji spoke about what is the fourth offense and why it is an offense, how we can avoid the offense, or what we do if in case the offense happens, so this will be the structure. So Haridas Ji spoke that criticizing the scriptures is the fourth offense because it obstructs the path of bhakti, which is the main principle of pure bhakti, japa, which we know, mantra chanting. So what are scriptures? Scriptures are Vedas, Puranas, and Upanishads. And since they come from the breath of Krishna, they are eternal and they are non-defective pramana. It's been said that Jiva senses, they have got key 4 defects: Bhram, Pramad, Vipralips, Karanpatva. Bhram is tendency to commit mistake. Pramad is to be illusion. Vipralips is tendency to cheat. And Karanpatva is imperfect senses or limited perception. Due to these limitations, jivas are in ignorance. They cannot fully understand the spiritual tattva or the ashraya tattva or the spiritual knowledge. And that's why they are dependent. They need an aid to go out from the ignorance to the spiritual knowledge. So Krishna has given Vedas for jivas to progress, to get out of the ignorance and get the spiritual goals. So these Vedas are the authorities as well as reference, which covers 9 additional topics apart from the Veda themselves to cover the transcendental knowledge. Those 9 topics are: Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Lord. He is the possessor of all energy. Krishna is the fountainhead of all rasas. Jivas are part and parcel of the Lord. Some of the jivas are nityabad, and some of the jivas are those who are nityabad. They are always in the material energy, illusion by it, and they are into that cycle all the time. Nitya Siddhas are those who are eternally liberated and they are with the Lord and serving the Lord in the spiritual world. Krishna, along with his energy, is called as Achint Bhed Abhed Tattva. And the ninth topic is the ninefold devotional service or the Abhideya for the Jiva to achieve bhakti or pure prema. The final goal is prema, which comes by the mercy of Krishna. So Vedas, because they are non-defectives, they are for the guidance of the jivas. Because as we say that jivas are, because of those four defects, are always in ignorance. So they need an aid from what Krishna has given as Vedas for these jivas to be guided. So if one criticizes such an authority, means he is criticizing Krishna himself, who is the means and the goals. So that is an offense. Now further Haridas ji is saying that on the Vedas there are 6 different personalities who have kind of written different their commentaries, like Jaimini Rishi, Kapila Rishi, Jaivas, Charvak, Buddha and Mayavadis. Now Jaimini Rishi has focused on Karma Kanda, and though he has taken things from Vedas, but he has not taken the Supreme Personality of Godhead at its center. Kapila Muni kind of thought that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is imperfect, so he is focused on yoga. Jaivas, they took the philosophy of illusion, and Charvaka was an atheist who talks about no God. And Lord Buddha took Sunyavadi philosophy, which was more about human rather than the Lord. And Mayavadi is also influenced by the illusion, and they didn't talk about the central things. So if someone chants the holy name with above such 6 philosophies, then they don't go to the end of getting the prema bhakti, and in a process they end without creating an offense to the Lord. So with that essence, it has been said that Vedas are key and one should focus on and respect it, and with the Abhideya process of 9 devotional service can go from ignorance to the spiritual knowledge and achieve the prema by the mercy of the Lord. Further, it has been said that if the jiva can accept the direct meaning of the Vedas, which is the path of pure bhakti, he will be rewarded with the sweetness of the prema. But if he takes the indirect meaning or metaphorical interpretations, then he would die of his offense to Krishna. Further, it is said that by accident or by a chance, if somebody does a mistake, then for that unfortunate mistake, they can do the repentance by intentionally praying and offering flowers to the Bhagavatam and the Vedas, which are the essence of the Vedas. Basically, Bhagavatam is the essence of the Vedas, and they can offer the respect and humble obeisances by the mercy of Bhagavatam, which is the representation of the Lord. It's very merciful, and it will give them the chance again to come back, and so that they shouldn't do the mistake. And by that mercy, they pray to the Lord with the pure form and without any offenses, and they will surely attain the bhakti or the prema. And finally, Haridasa says, day and night, I am immersed in this ocean of nectar of the holy name, having given up the offense of criticizing the scriptures. So whoever aspires for the dust of the feet of Haridas is qualified to wear on his neck the touchstone jewel of the holy name. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Wonderful. You are precisely made it the wonderful point of this Shastra Nindanam. So I will see you all on Wednesday. I won't take much time. You need to take rest, those who are in India. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Bancha Kalpatarvesya Kripa Sindhu Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantagani Pasyavinda.
Krishna Prabhu ki jai.
Whatever you have something to say, you can always put it on the chat. WhatsApp group. Thank you.